Thank you. Mr. Davis, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and although I'm not a member of this subcommittee, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to weigh on. Before I inquire, I'd like to yield a minute to the ranking member.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I just want to point out there is nothing in the tax code, no reference, no section, no nothing about the death tax. That is not a tax. And number two, I want to guarantee you that once you die, you're not going to have to pay taxes. It's over. You won't get called to jury duty. You won't have to pay taxes. It's done. I yield back to Mr. Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You know, listening to the comments, and I want to thank all of you for your participation. And Mr. Thompson just reminded me, I'm a pretty avid churchgoer. And listening to our discussions sometimes reminds me of parishioners. Everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. And it seems that finding agreement relative to approaches, and I think this fair tax is very cleverly termed. Fair tax. It sounds like we're really in pursuit of something, but I think of fair to who? And fair for what? And trying to make that determination. You know, I represent a very diverse congressional district. Some of the wealthiest people in the country live in some parts of it, but then also some of the lowest income people in the country. And I'm trying to think that about 25% of my population of children are poor, 25%. And I'm trying to figure out how does the fair tax benefit them and their families. I find difficulty finding it, but there are some things that we do know. I do know that the enhanced child tax credit benefited them, many of them. I know that it did. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Let me ask you, Mr. Berman, how does the earned income tax credit and the enhanced child tax credits, how do they really fit into being in pursuit of fairness for these individuals that I just mentioned?
The earned income tax credit is the only fully refundable, I think it's the only fully refundable tax credit, which means you get the benefit even if you don't have income tax liability. When we were talking about possibly raising the standard deduction, it would make things simpler, but it wouldn't benefit people who didn't have tax liability. The earned income tax credit is targeted at low-income people. It provides a subsidy, I think up to 45% of wages, up to a cap, and then as earnings get above a threshold, it phases down again. It can have a huge effect on the after-tax, after-credit income of low-income working families. And I think when you look at the things that affect poverty, the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit are two of the biggest factors that reduce the poverty rate in the United States.
Wouldn't it be fair if we could enhance those? And I mean, we call that fair?
I suggested that both should be increased, yes.
I'll rest right there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. Thanks for taking time out of your lives to come and talk to us. I wish we could do this all day, really, because I think there's so many features and benefits that you could add to it. But it's coming to an end. I just want to thank you for being here. I also I want to advise members that they have 2 weeks to submit written questions to be answered later in writing.